So I am demanding, pleading for the federal government. I know they ain't gonna do this because they probably want a race war to happen, because when there's racial tension, the left always wins, because the left will use the racial tension between whites and minorities to stoke up minority feelings so that they can be driven to the left. They'll say that Whitey's coming after you. Whitey is coming after you. The only way you can stop Whitey from coming after you is if you vote liberal or you vote socialist. So they're not going to do what I am about to suggest. But I am demanding that this government makes hoax hate crimes illegal. So if you complain about a hate crime, but it never really happened, and you know it didn't happen, you should be locked up. And if you're an immigrant, you should be deported. That should be the law of the land. And I'll tell you why. Because here in Canada, hoax hate crimes are on the rise. They're on the rise. And one in particular is actually really disturbing. And this involves a young 11-year-old girl at Pauline Johnson Public School in Scarborough, not far from where I live. Scarborough, nice place. I love Scarborough. Accused someone of cutting her hijab off with a pair of scissors. And the whole country was up in arms. They were saying, we gotta find this son of a bitch. We gotta take him down. We gotta burn him. The long-haired Mac Daddy came out. Justin Trudeau, John Tory came out. Kathleen Wynne came out. They all came out condemning this incident that never really happened. The Toronto police have come out just recently, yesterday in fact, saying that this never happened. This was a hoax. Now everybody's going back to their lives. Oh, okay, it was a hoax. Okay. But we better remain vigilant. We gotta remain vigilant. We gotta figure out, because, you know, the people are after us. White people are after us. We gotta figure. I mean, this is dangerous. This is actually a very dangerous time for Canada. And instead of, and I saw John Tory's statement where he said, thank God this incident was a hoax, but we need to remain vigilant. What I would have said was that what just took place is very serious. And there's going to be a race war if we don't take hoax hate crime seriously. Now, if you commit a hate crime, you should be punished. I'll throw you in the pit of hell myself. But the same needs to take place if you commit a hoax hate crime. One thing that I've noticed about Canada as opposed to the United States, and I've lived in both countries, born in Canada, lived in the United States for 8 years, lived in the Deep South, lived in the North, upstate New York. By the way, the North is more racist than the South, just so you know. As a black man, that's my experience. That's just my experience. So shut your mouth for all y'all people saying, oh, what was the South like? Were you okay? I was fine, thank you very much. Friggin' hell, what's wrong with you? You don't know anything. But anyway, one thing I noticed about living in the United States was the amount of racial tension. And what I mean by that is that white people and black people, or minorities in general, were so afraid to talk to each other, to communicate with each other. It is so, it's not racism, they're not used to it. It's almost like talking to an alien from outer space. They're not used to each other. It's very sad. And I was at a bus stop once, I was waiting for my parents, because at the time I was working at an amusement park called Darien Lake. And I was very young at the time. I couldn't even drive, so I was waiting for my parents. But there was this bus stop right next to me. And there were a bunch of bus shelters, wooden bus shelters. And one bus shelter had a bunch of black people in it. They were just chit-chatting, talking, blah, 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 blah. Just a bunch of black people. You think you ought to fall in a tar pit, it was so black in that bus shelter. But the next bus shelter right next to it was just filled with white people. And they were just talking, mingling, blah, 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 blah. But the thing that I noticed is that none of them were talking amongst each other. Black people were talking with black people. White people were talking with white people. And I just thought, I know it's for some people it might seem like not a big deal. But the thing is that it's almost like as if they were afraid to talk to another member of the opposite race. And this was in the North, in the United States. This was really shocking to me. And it made me actually uncomfortable. And the thing with Canada, which I am very proud of, is there is almost no racial tension. Now, there's a difference between racism and racial tension. There's racism everywhere. There's racism in Canada. Holy Jesus, there's racism in Canada. And the racism is in places you would least expect it too, just so you know. But the thing is that there's such a lack of racial tension. You see white people talking to black people, Chinese people talking to Muslims. You see, let me tell you, I seen the first time I ever saw a black person dating a Chinese, they were holding hands in Toronto. I'm like, what the fuck? I want to know what that baby's going to look like. I mean, whoa. Because I had lived in the U.S. for such a long time, and I just came back, and I'm like, what? Man, it's like black people, it's like there was no problem. But that's going to change very soon if these hoax hate crimes continue. And the thing is that they're going to continue because there are certain people out there, and I'm not just talking about this 11-year-old little girl, because I think maybe she did this because maybe she doesn't want to wear the hijab, and she used this whole someone cut off my hijab as a ploy to not wear it, but not tell her parents that I took it off voluntarily, because maybe her parents would have beat her ass if she came home without a hijab, because they're probably uber religious. I'm just saying that's probably, but there are people in the establishment, Justin the long-haired Mac Daddy Trudeau, Kathleen Cowperthwaite Wynne, John Rooster Chin Tory, the whole Canadian media, and the establishment of Canada in general, who want to see a race war. They want to see white people and black people killing each other in the streets. They want to see Muslims and Chinese people giving each other the stank eye. They want to see racial tension worse than you see in the United States. And the reason being for that is because it helps the left in Canada. It helps the left anywhere when there's racial tension. You got the liberals, the socialists saying, white man gonna get you. So you better vote with us so we can put the white man, we can chastise the white man. You better vote for us. And you know what's very disturbing about this incident, this hoax hijab incident? Who's to say that this girl said that someone cut off her hijab with scissors, and you got some sick, twisted Muslim sitting in his mama's basement who has problems, and he says to himself, you know what? I'm going to go to this school in Scarborough. I'm going to take a gun and shoot every cracker I see. I'm going to shoot them one by one in retaliation. But the whole thing never happened. It didn't happen. And then that happens. And then you got another nut job who says, hey, I think that's a good idea what he did. We should start killing white people. And then you got black folks saying, yeah, if it happened to him, if it happened to her, it could happen to us. And we're going to join you and kill white people too. And the Chinese and the Muslims and the Indians and everybody's killing white people. They go kill them one by one in the streets of Toronto and Montreal and Calgary and all over. And then the white people start getting scared and say, whoa, these crazy Muslims, these crazy black people, these crazy Indians, these crazy Chinese, they want to kill us. And then they start saying to their children, the fathers will start saying to their daughters, hey, Vanessa, Jamie, Megan, Diana, I don't want to see you going out with no nigga. Don't you come home with no nigga. Don't you come home with no Muslim. Don't you come home with no packet. I will beat you upside your head if I see you walking hand in hand with no nigga. Don't you go on with no nigga. They're crazy. They want to kill us. If you want to date some white, blonde hair, blue eyes, go ahead, but don't make me see you with no nigga. And then the minority parents will tell their children, hey, don't make me see you with no cracker. Them racist motherfuckers, you saw what they did with that girl, chop off her hijab. Don't make me see you with no cracker. I see you with no cracker. I'll change the locks and you won't be able to come in. And that's what I do if I see you with no white girl or no white dude. Don't make me see you with no, that's what's going to happen in Canada. That is what's going to happen in Canada. You mark my words if this continues. But you know what? The people at the top, the long-haired Mac Daddy Trudeau, the media, and the reason why I bring up the media a lot is because I've noticed this with the Canadian media. They are using every excuse, ever since Donald Trump got elected, they're using every excuse to pile on all the hate crimes and Islamophobic crimes, whether real or imaginary, but they're going to report them all. And they don't care if there's holes in the story. They're going to report them all just to show Canadians that look what happened when Donald Trump got elected. Racism went up. So you all better be careful. John Tory says you better be careful. Justin DeLong and Matt Daddy Trudeau says we better be careful. Kathleen Wynne says we better be careful. We all better be careful. We gotta look over. We gotta look and spy and see. I mean, is that how we want to live in Canada? That's not how I want to live. I might as well go back to the U.S. I mean, I ain't even from there, but I'll just go back there because, I mean, whatever. I don't want to live that life. We have to stop these people. We have to stop them. This is the Arana Nation.